We'll now look at document 7, an indigenous perspective, and when trying to answer the question, should the Brazilian government develop the Amazon rainforest? Document 7's source, Avatar is real, says tribal people. Survival International USA, posted January 28th, 2010. This is from a man named Davy Kopanawa from the Yanami, is a shaman of the Portuguese-speaking spokesperson of the Yanomami Indians in Brazil. Now, to be a shaman, it actually means like a wise man, an elder. He's a leader of this group. He came to international prominence for his advocacy regarding tribal issues and Amazon rainforest conservation when the tribal rights organization Survival International invited him to accept the Right Livelihood Award on its behalf in 1989. So we want to know a little bit about him, and we probably should highlight some of this information. So, David Kopanawa is a shaman of the Portuguese-speaking of the Yanami Indians. We're going to highlight that. We're also going to highlight for advocacy regarding tribal issues in the Amazon rainforest. All right, because those are things that we're going to want to know about him as we read his quote below. Now, one of the things I would like you to notice about this is that this is, quote, this is what one person is saying, and it's kind of short. So there's a lot to be left interpreted in this portion, and that's how we want to use it. And it was done purposely like this. This is something that we do every day. If we watch the news, if we read a newspaper, if you're looking at a magazine, you see that often a small quote is used and then drawn, larger ideas are drawn from this small quote. So Davy Kopanawa from Yanomami is known as the Dalai Lama of the rainforest. He said, "My Yanomami people have always lived in peace with the forest. Our ancestors taught us to understand our land and animals. We have used this knowledge carefully, for our experience depends on it. My Yanomami land was invaded by miners. A fifth of our people died from disease we had never known." If I'm going to highlight a few things in here, something that I might want to highlight in here is that they always lived in peace with the rainforest. We may want to go down our land. We have used this knowledge carefully, and their existence depends on it. And that they were invaded by miners, and a fifth of their people died from disease. All of those are good quotes that we can then again later use in our paper. What is Davy's primary point in this document? Is that while the native Amazonians use the rainforest peacefully, and with harmony with the land, in harmony, while other groups have stolen this land and they ruining the land. And we can tell this by the way he says that it was invaded by miners and a fifth of their people died from disease that they had never known. Now, we can use this document really in both ways. Number one, how many people have ever heard of the Yanomami tribe? And so we say, yeah, the people should be able to develop the rainforest because these tribes socially, let me connect this to a category. Socially, these tribes only make up a small percentage of people. So really, if they're only making up a small percentage of people, they are in the minority and therefore should not count. All right. So who really cares about them? These are people that some people would argue they're not providing for Brazil. They're not providing for the economy. They're not providing for the state. Nothing is being gained from them. So if we remove them and put them somewhere else, that shouldn't matter. It's not a very big deal. Other people would say socially no. Socially no. We are morally obligated to protect these people. They do represent a minority and therefore must be protected by the majority. The other thing that we see is that really minors and these other groups are ruthless. All right? They invade these people's lands, and then people die from diseases that are brought with them. And so that turns out to be a very bad thing. Some people would say we got to protect these people. We have to protect native Amazonians from exposure so they don't die of disease. And so even though this article is written by a person, Davy Kopanawa, who is very one-sided, very clear with his point of view, we see that we can also use this document in both sides. Yes, they should develop, and no, they should not develop.